Up next, a very underrated amplifier from a very underrated company. These guys have been around for years, but they were never all that popular, and they deserve a little more respect than a lot of people give them. Let's check it out. This is one of the more underrated amplifiers that we've seen in recent years, well, in the last 40 or so years. Of course, I'm talking about an NEC Authentic Series stereo integrated amplifier. And when I say underrated, well, wait till you see inside this one. I'm doing an inspection on this one today, and I noticed there's a power meter problem on it. I don't know if we can solve that or not, but we'll try. But wait till you see inside this thing. You can probably already see what I'm talking about. But these were really underrated, and they weren't all that popular at the time. NEC made some fantastic products, and this is actually one of them. Any of these Authentic Series amplifiers, they don't go for a lot of money, and they probably should, because once you see inside this thing, you'll understand what I'm talking about. Let's get the cover off it and take a look. There, see what I mean? Underrated. What you're looking at here is you're looking at essentially two mono amplifiers, a dual monoblock design, and this is a true dual monoblock design, unlike other companies that will say, well, our amplifiers are a dual mono design and they just have one transformer. This one actually has two separate power transformers, two separate bridge rectifiers, and two separate sets of filter capacitors and regulators for both the separate amplifiers. So you have your left channel over here and your right channel over here. Yes, the preamp will share a common power supply for the preamp, but as far as the actual power amplifier section goes, these ones here are totally independent. And that's one of the things that makes these units a sleeper. Very good design. As I say, you'll see people paying big bucks for some brands of equipment, and they ignore these ones here, which are equally as good as some of the other brands. So they're kind of a sleeper amp. First thing I noticed on this one, there's no cover on the relay for the speakers. I don't know if someone else, I guess, has taken that off, or whether there wasn't one from the factory. I can't see them not having a cover on there. I have a feeling that somebody took that one off at some point. Supply power, and we'll select auxiliary input. See, it's on. And see if we get any sound. Auxiliary in. My monitors are set to source. Loudness is off. Speaker A is selected. And we have some sound. Now we'll see how this thing sounds. Switches are sounding good. Muting. Loudness control. One thing you should know about this amplifier is, first of all, they're not a super high power amplifier. I mean, we can tell that based on the 10,000 microfarad capacitors in the power supply. This amplifier is only rated at 65 watts per channel. Okay, so it's not a huge power amplifier, and then realistically, if you're rating at 65 watts, you're going to expect to maybe be pushing 40 on your average. So it's not going to rattle too many windows although it will go fairly loud. But the thing is, they do have a nice, smooth sound as long as you're driving them within their acceptable power rating. Output power comes from dual NEC 2SB 617A and 2SD 587. There's two of them, right? There's another one down here. So there's 4 transistors per channel. They're in parallel with each other. That's where you get your 65 watts. A quick search of these part numbers shows they're NLA, no longer available, obsolete. So if you blow these ones out, you're going to have a tough time trying to replace them, because I'm sure that replacements could be found for them, but they won't be the same mounting hardware. You notice these ones here have got screws on either side for the tabs. So these ones, being NEC doesn't make electronics anymore, and they don't make amplifiers anymore. They haven't made consumer electronics for, well, many years. This thing goes back to about 1978. As I say, great little amplifier for what it is. This one's got a stuck meter. I don't know if I'm going to be able to fix this or not. We're going to try and make this power meter work. I'm thinking the meter might just be stuck. So I'm going to give it about 1 volt. I have my meter, my power supply, current limited down to 20 milliamps. So I'm just going to connect the negative terminal over to the positive terminal of the meter. And, well, if I tap the ground, the negative side of the meter should be grounded. Oh, the meter just moved. It just went down to 0. Might just have been stuck. Let's see if it'll move now when I give it some music. Was it just stuck, or is it going to be stuck now down at 0? Let's find out. Okay, let's see. Let's see if it'll move. Aha! It seems to be physically stuck. So I may have to take the meter out and take it apart. Definitely it's not burned out. The coil works. But you see this? So I might be able to save this meter. I think something is physically sticking it. To get the meter out on this, I'm going to have to pull the face off. So all the knobs have to come off for that. So we'll just remove all the knobs and switches. Fortunately, they just pull off on this one, I think. And then I can remove the front face, and then I'll be able to get to the meter itself. And we'll see whether the meter itself can be freed up. The volume knob is held on by a 1.5 millimeter hex key, as is the balance knob. Oh, that one might not even have to come off. It looks like it might be maybe behind. We'll find out when I get it off here. So undo the... I think that one didn't have to come off, but oh well, it's off now. It's been a long time since I've seen one of these units. We saw a few of them when I was in the business. I saw the odd one, but they really were not that popular of unit. And for that matter, I don't think NEC was very popular for anything. You know, they had a few items that they sold a lot of, but they didn't sell a lot. They did not sell a lot of home audio stuff. I remember when the ads were running on TV and stuff, you know, for the new NEC Authentic series when they first launched. There was some fairly heavy marketing on them, but you know, I don't remember too many stores that actually carried them, or anything NEC for that matter. They had Betamax machines. I remember seeing a number of Beta machines that they made, back in the day. They were one of the beta manufacturers, them, Toshiba, Sanyo, and of course Sony. But as far as audio equipment goes, I think I've only seen a couple of these units. In all the years that I was servicing, you know, professionally in the business, I only saw a few of these units. So that's either a testimony to the quality of them never breaking down, or the rarity. Oh, the knob did have to come off. Or the rarity of them. Okay, now once I've got this off, I can now remove the screws that hold the meters in place. That's why I had to take the front panel off, because there's 4 screws here that hold the meters in place from the back. And I just want to take this 1 meter out and see why it's sticking. Something physically sticking it, because now it's stuck at the 3 watt indicator. So we'll take the screws out here, and that'll remove the back plate, and then the meter should lift out at this point. At least that's the idea. Back plate out, and there's the meter. The meter will lift out. Oh, that's interesting. Interesting. The front cover doesn't come off. See, the meter's stuck. Wonder why. But the plastic is on the front here. It's like it's interesting. The meter's broken. That's what it is. The plastic's broken because this other one here doesn't separate. So the plastic is actually broken right here. Probably what's happened is dirt or moisture or something has gotten in, and it's causing it to stick. Well, we'll see whether we can free this thing up. See, the spring's not pulling it back. I think probably what happened is something hit the meter and it bent the bracket. I think that's what's happened, is this bracket here is bent slightly. Aha! I think that bracket is bent and it's jamming it. So there's an adjustment on here. I wonder if I can adjust that screw. It's a very small screw, but I just happen to have a screwdriver that will probably fit it. It's a small slotted screw. If I back that off a bit. Ha ha ha. I do believe I fixed the meter. So I think what happened is something hit this, because this plastic is all broken around here. See, this used to be part of the meter itself. That's all broken. So I think maybe something has hit this, and it hit it in such a way that it actually jammed and pushed the metal bracket enough to make it stick. So I just loosened off the set screw here slightly. Voila. Fixed meter. That's important, because the guy that owns this, it's the same guy that owns the Marantz, and he picked this up, and he buys and sells equipment, so having a functional meter means that this thing's worth a little bit more if he decides that he's going to sell this unit and keep the other one, because he finds equipment and gets me to fix them up for them, and then he turns around and decides which ones he wants to keep and which ones he wants to sell. And even though this is quite a unique piece, because it's it's got that full dual mono design, the fact that this is only 65 watts per channel kind of tells me that this is probably one of the ones that he's going to put up for sale, because he generally likes to keep the high powered stuff, which I don't really blame him. How's that saying go about power? You can't have too much. But he's one of my regular customers. Has a couple of got a couple of those Hafler 200s, or the DH 200 Hafler. He's got a couple of those, and he's got those big monster They were the Ross, were they? The BGWs. So he's a guy that likes his stereo gear. So I get the sneaky suspicion that this one might very well find itself a new home. And I think whoever ends up with this one will be pretty happy with what they get, because, as I say, this amplifier is not bad. It for what it is, it's a great little unit, and they really were bulletproof. And that's probably one of the reasons why I never saw that many of them when I was in the business, is because they're relatively rare for starters, but they're well built and they didn't break down. Okay, we'll test it again right now. I'm sure I'm not gonna blow the speakers out here. I would say success. Time to put the unit back together. Front panel on. A couple screws in the top to hold the front panel on. And then all the knobs back on, and then we'll do a final checkout on this one and call this one done. These are nice metal knobs they've got on here. Wait a sec, go on. That one goes on like that. Yeah, these are, it says something for the quality, right? And they put a metal knob on that you actually have to attach with a with a hex key. You know that these ones aren't gonna fall off or get them centered and tighten it up. And hopefully that radio that's playing, somebody's got a radio playing. You can hear it in the background. It's not here. It's one of my neighbors who's got a radio playing. So hopefully the radio is not being picked up too bad from my microphone. I can just hear music in the background that's coming in from outside. My neighbor has outdoor speakers, and they, I guess, have them on, because I can just hear some music in the background. Very, 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 very faint. So hopefully my voice talking over it will be enough to, maybe this will be enough to drown it out. Just checking to make sure that the knob is calibrated, which it is, infinity to 0. Now we can start putting the remainder of the knobs back on. Balance control. Switches sound good. Auxiliary. Check and see if there's any noise. And a stereo and a mono switch here. Mono. Stereo and reverse. Metal knobs too, eh? They got a plastic insert, but they're a metal knob. Same with all these buttons, they're all metal with a plastic insert, so they fit. They fit over the control. The reason they're plastic is for insulation, right? But and also to provide a snug fit. But here it is, going back together. On here there's a meter range switch, 1 watt, 3 watt, and 65 watt. So for normal listing, you'd keep it down that way. See, that's because people like to see meters bouncing and they don't necessarily want to have the thing blaring. So at a low volume, you'll see the meters moving because everybody likes to watch meters moving, right? You're sitting there listening to tunes and you're just watching the watt meters bounce away. Tape 2 on the front, which is kind of cool. That's for people that want to just plug a tape deck in temporarily. That's boring. On the 65 watt, unless you're really rocking out, that's kind of boring. So we got the that's more like it. That gives you an idea, though. That's only 1 watt of power. 3 watts. That was only, what, 10 watts? You know, it's like enough to shake the walls almost in here. Anyway, I think this one's done. I'm going to put it together and send it back out. This was more, this job was more of an inspection to see what it needed and, of course, to fix that meter. So, meter's been fixed. Unit's working properly now. Sounding pretty good. That's it. So that's about all I can do on this one. Keep that in mind. You get a meter that's stuck. Usually you can adjust them. You got to open the meter up to do it. But in this case, I didn't have to do anything to open it up because it was already open for me. Somehow it got damaged. So I don't know whether the unit got dropped or banged or something. There's a little mark right here. I don't know if it got hit with something. But anyway, this one's fixed. We'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching.